Welcome to this LEX 18 Digital Conversation. I'm Dia Davidson. Kentucky Bluegrass Cannabis, LLC, has launched a statewide grassroots campaign to get legislation passed that will legalize, regulate, and tax medical marijuana in Kentucky. Joining me now is Michael Ross. He's founder of Kentucky Bluegrass Cannabis, with more on how things are progressing and some of the things that we all need to know about the legal use of marijuana.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You know, we talk about this, and we've talked about this for years, that this is something that really has been helping a lot of people with a lot of medical conditions. So what seems to be the rub?
You know, it's a good question. It's a great question. I mean, the medical use for this has just tremendous wide-ranging effects for all sorts of people. And I don't understand it, to be perfectly frank. I mean, here we have a natural product that grows in the ground, has been used for thousands and thousands of years. And all these people want is access to treat these diseases. They want a non-pharmaceutical option. Parents want to be able to give kids that have, you know, epilepsy and MS and these horrible diseases, they don't want to give them these heavy-duty sedatives, heavy-duty barbiturates, heavy-duty opioids. They want to give them something natural. And you know, quite honestly, I don't understand it.
Are you being met with opposition more from, say, drug manufacturers than you are people, individuals?
Well, it's both. The legislature is really worried about it. Big Pharma has really got a real problem with it. If it nationalized, if medical marijuana was a national thing, Big Pharma would lose, you know, $1.5, $1.9 billion a year. It's a lot. It's a tremendous amount of lot. And yeah, but there are a lot of people. The problem is that it's been stereotyped and, you know, manipulated by the government for the 50, 60 years, and people can't get past that stigma. And there's just so much empirical evidence out there showing all the benefits to so many people that we just need to get past that.
So let's talk a little bit about it. So when we're thinking about pot, we're thinking about people, you know, with joints and what have you. Is it the same thing, or is medical grade marijuana different or processed?
It's completely different. Okay. See, and that's the the real distinction between medical grade and recreational. Mm-hmm. Medical grade has 20% or less THC in it. So at those levels, it is impossible to have a psychotropic effect. So it just doesn't exist in medical grade. So, and people are having a hard time with that. They don't believe that, but it's the truth. I mean, Israel has been studying cannabis for 40, 50 years, and there's thousands upon thousands of studies from Israel and from around the world that show the positive effect of it.
So now with Colorado having legalized it, and I think Alaska was trying to do some things with that too, right?
Well, Tennessee just passed it yesterday.
Oh, good.
And Virginia passed it, Illinois has passed it. I mean, it's all around us. Right. Ohio has passed it, but it just hasn't gotten here. It's one of the things that really frustrates me about the state legislature is that it seems that we're always on the bottom of the lists that are important and on top of the list that we don't want to be part of, like the opioid deaths.
And that's what I was going to say. Sure. Do you think that now that we're focusing on that and that crisis, that maybe people will, and legislators and politicians will take a step back and look and say, well, maybe we need to revisit this again?
You really would think so, and you would hope so. I mean, Kentucky's the third state in the country with the most opioid overdoses, and it's a real crisis for us. Now, if you look at states that have passed medical cannabis, it's had a 25% reduction in opioid deaths every year, and 11% reduction in opioid prescriptions being written on a yearly basis. Those are huge, huge numbers. And we just need to really address that, and it's a problem. And I don't understand why it's being looked at so negatively.
So patients here in Kentucky who, I guess, are going to holistic medicine physicians, where are they able to get this, or are they just not able?
They're just not able. It's illegal in the state. And it's a real concern, and I've been really fighting very hard. I mean, I've met several people doing throughout my travels in the state, and you hear these heart-wrenching stories of, and on our Facebook page, which is KY Needs Care, you can see stories and video stories of poor Shelby Wilcox in Morganton, Kentucky. She's 7 or 8 and has hundreds of seizures a day. And then there's this boy, and I can't remember his name. He's 7. I met him a few weeks ago. And when he was 2, he was diagnosed with this really aggressive neoblastoma brain tumor.
Right.
And his father took this really courageous step and took him off all the conventional chemotherapy because it was killing him. Mm-hmm. And the doctors gave him 2 years to live. I met him a couple weeks ago. That's 5 years now. And he's only been on medical grade cannabis. And I looked at his brain scan that was 30 days old. It's gone.
You're kidding me.
Gone completely. And all he's taking is cannabis products.
So then what is it about this naturally occurring herb that's been around that's doing that, that's altering and changing and healing the body?
Well, it's a combination. They don't, the problem with it here in the States, and the reason why we haven't been able to do all this research that needs to be done, is because it's a Scheduled I narcotic, which goes all the way back to the Hoover days and the FBI. In other countries where they can, really, like Israel and Europe, they found that there's 1,500 different strains of cannabis. And within that, there are terpenes and other that are active and non-active. And so it's a combination of all those. We don't know exactly here in the States, all of it, because we just haven't spent the research. But it's there. It's getting more sophisticated every single day. We've learned a tremendous amount from the research that has been done overseas. And we're able now to genetically deal with the different terpenes and the different DNA within the marijuana to really target different kinds of cells, different kind of products. It's almost like gene therapy-ish, but and targeted, cell therapy. But it hasn't gotten quite there yet. But it will be in the next 5 years.
So you mean actually growing certain plant
Correct.
derivatives that would target certain?
Absolutely.
You're kidding me.
Absolutely. Israel is 5 years out. There's no question. And the beauty about this is for, let's say, cancer patients. It's not at the point that it cures it. But like that young boy that I was just telling you about, the benefits, most people will pass away that have really aggressive cancer, pass away from the chemotherapy treatment because it's so invasive, it's so toxic to the body, it just can't handle it. But what happens when you add medical cannabis with it, it slows the growth down so dramatically that it allows the oncologist to really lower the dose of chemotherapy to such a small level that it's not so toxic to the body and it will attack the cancer cells. The other part about it is, and the other reason why cancer patients, have such a hard time recovering, is because they have no appetite and they lose so much weight. Well, one of the side benefits, it really pushes and helps people regain their appetite.
So is this ingested or is this smoked, or how are people?
There's various ways to do it. The pill form is not as effective as, it's the least effective because it goes through your liver and everything and has to get metabolized. So that's an option. It's not the best. You can eat it, of course. There are creams that you can rub on your joints for arthritis and back pain. There are liquids, oils, which you can take sublingually. You can smoke it, or you can, for children, for example, they take the tar and the wax of it and put it in a nebulizer and like a oxygen mask or a humidifier and ingest it that way.
So all of those various ways of getting it into your system are all considered illegal?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Really?
Absolutely. If it has medical grade cannabis in it, it's illegal.
Huh. So you're pushing now for the legislature to re-look at this, and what's the end goal? What's your goal for this?
Well, my end goal is to get it, obviously, passed so that we can, move forward and help these people. But right now it's stalled. I mean, it is stalled. The House bill is dead. There's 2 Senate bills that are sitting out there that have some life to it. My personal goal is to get it added onto the SB1, which is the revenue bill, because there are very few times in life when something comes around that has such a tremendous medical benefit and compassionate benefit, but also has an enormous tax and revenue benefit. And this state needs money.
Right.
It needs new revenue. And just with the medical cannabis, it could bring in $50 million a year without any hesitation and create hundreds of really high-paying jobs. I mean, I know what I'm just trying to do, and I'm going to hire 30 people to run my business.
Right.
I'm going to need at least another 30 people to support those 30 people. I mean, you do that 50 times with 50 other people, now you have a real economic engine that has really brought in high-income jobs to the state, which it needs. It desperately needs.
And you're saying that this product will not be sort of the first rung of getting young people or anyone addicted, if you will, to.
Well, there is no, at this level, there is no addictive properties whatsoever.
How would it be dispensed? Would you have a certain pharmacy?
No, it would not go through the pharmacies. It would have to go through, and the reason why is because it's still a Schedule I narcotic. Right. The pharmacies would lose their DEA license, which obviously they won't do. So what we would do would have individual dispensaries throughout the state that someone would have to apply for a medical card. And that process is an extensive one. You know, I've heard stories of people saying, yes, you know, I broke my toe in practice, or I stubbed my toe, I went to the doctor, I want medical marijuana. You know, well, it doesn't work like that, because what happens is the board, the advisory board that would be established, will look at the, first of all, you'll have to submit a doctor's recommendation and provide lengthy proof that this person has been treated for XYZ disease, and show that. And so if you just hurt yourself, you know, you're not going to get it.
Right.
Plus the fact that the onus is on the doctors. I mean, you know, if they submit a false report request, they'll lose their license. Oh, sure. And I can't imagine that they're willing to take that chance.
Indeed. And we could, I guess, effectively go to our general practitioner.
Absolutely.
And be able to, and not have to go to a holistic.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow, that's very, very interesting. So the next time that you're going to be back in Frankfurt?
Oh, we're there all the time.
All the time?
Right? Yeah, I mean, we're really pushing for this to go through personally to go through as a revenue bill. I mean, I just can't fathom that with the pension crisis and with everything that the state needs, high-paying jobs, and now it's not going to cure the pension. It's not, but it's a tool.
Right.
I mean, $50 million is nothing to sneeze at.
Oh no.
You know, so.
And we have enough people in our state, you think, that would buy into this and would need this?
Oh, there's no question. I mean, for example, for cancer patients, veterans, the VA has already approved medical grade cannabis to treat PTSD. So, and it's a very important tool. It's not, it doesn't, you know, solve it, but it's a tool that the VA is using. And we have not treated our veterans well, as we all know, and it's a disgrace. And we have to treat them better, and we have to get them the help that they need. And this is how we'll do it. And I mean, this is the way I'm trying to do it.
And just another tool in the arsenal.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, it's just a wide-ranging, I mean, Crohn's disease, you know, any neurological disease, Parkinson's, if you have any kind of really severe inflammation, you can't imagine the videos that are out there of people that there's a gentleman out there, an older gentleman from Texas, that has really severe Parkinson's, and within 2 minutes, his shaking's gone.
I've seen that. I've seen that video.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's real.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. There's no faking that. And like I said, Shelby Wilcox is on our Facebook page, and you know, that's real. She has thousands of seizures a day. Yeah. You know, it's just awful. It's heart-wrenching.
For a child, especially.
Oh,
to see
for
that.
Anybody, but especially a young child. And for her mother. I mean, her mother has to deal with this on a daily basis. You can't imagine what she has to go through. It's just, anyone that watches that, if you don't have empathy for these people, I don't know. I can't understand it.
You need public support to help you with this?
Absolutely.
How can people who want to help you
help you? Various ways. Please call your legislatures. Call, you know, Frankfurt, Senator Thayer and Representative Osborne. That's for sure. You can go on our Facebook page, and there's a link on it or our website, which is kyneedscare.com. and there's a way to email someone all of Frankfurt in one step. Oh. So, you know, so it takes 2 minutes and you can write a message, one over there. It's just, we need public advocates. We need people calling and writing in. I mean, there's a great editorial in River City News outside of Cincinnati that from a Louisville neurosurgeon who is supporting it and thinks that it's time. It really is time. And like I said earlier, I just don't want us to be last again. It's just time for Kentucky to be more progressive and to really deal with issues instead of the way it's been done for the last 100 years.
And not stigmatize this.
Absolutely, absolutely, because, you know, it's there. It's natural and it can do the job. I mean, it's not, I've seen it firsthand.
And we've all seen it on Facebook or some of these other places, and we can really believe that that's true.
Absolutely.
All right, it's good to meet you, and
it's
good to see you guys again. Thank you so much for watching this LEX18 Digital Conversation. Be sure to watch more conversations on lex18.com. Until next time, I'm Dia Davidson.